What is up and good morning everybody, welcome back to Marvel Rivals and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do the last part of our beginner's guide series and we are going to go over Jeff the Shark. This is a character that I personally have not played a whole lot because I like all the other healers a whole lot more, but there are some cool things that you can do with this character that make him worth trying out, especially if you are a new healer and you want a little bit more of a simple playstyle. So let's get right into it. His basic abilities are, his left click is just this healing beam. As you can see, it penetrates targets, so you can actually use this and heal multiple targets. This isn't capped or anything like that, so Cloak and Dagger, it will bounce, like her auto attacks will bounce twice, but this can hit anyone that's in this vicinity. So you can kind of wave your cursor around and keep this healing beam going like that. It also does not have a range, so as you can see, this Groot is just absolute miles away from me, and I'm still able to heal him with full effectiveness. So definitely use this range. You don't need to be up in someone's face. Sometimes it does look like this beam doesn't go very far, but it does hit everywhere. So you can heal from absolute miles away. Very, very important. His right click is just this lobbed like bomb sort of thing. It does do splash damage, so if you see, it'll do a little bit of splash damage here, but the body shots will do a lot more damage. So definitely make sure you are going for body shots with this. There is no headshot modifier though, so you don't need to go for headshots with that one. Pretty simple ability. I see a lot of Jeffs will do a lot of damage with this, especially if you have a Luna Snow. It can do a lot of disruption to the enemy team because it will leave a little thing on the ground that I believe slows enemies. So definitely, if you have a Luna, this is a good healer too. Good way to do a lot of damage, do a little bit more disruption, everything like that. His next basic ability is his left shift. So his left shift will put you underground. You can see that only my fin is showing, so I'm a much harder to hit target. I get movement speed, and I also self-heal myself. So this is a good way to get away, especially if you've been dove. There's only like a short delay on it, as you can see, popping up and going down. So if you get dove, make sure that you use this, get away. You are going to be getting some healing as you're running away, and you can usually outrun most characters unless they're just dashing after you or like it's an Iron Fist or something like that. But definitely use this as an escape tool more than anything. You can also use this to reposition though. So if you go underground, you can hold down spacebar and you can actually wall climb. So sometimes it's a little bit finicky around corners, but you get the idea. You can wall climb, you can use this on walls, make yourself an absolute menace to hit. It's very, very good. So as soon as you let go, well, at least for my settings, as soon as I let go of spacebar, I will pop off of the wall. So you can use this mid wall to even juke people out, that sort of thing. Something that's important to note about this is that while you are self-healing and you're fast and all that good stuff, you cannot actually capture a point with this. So if I'm standing on a point and the point is right on the ground right here, I do not count as on it. So if you are really trying to touch points like in overtime or something like that, just make sure that that is not something that you're trying to do because you will not count as actually on it. And this is the self-heal in action. Does some pretty good numbers. His last basic ability that we're going to go over before his ultimate is his E. So his E are just these lobbed little spheres, Healy spheres. You can have, I think, 6 of these on the ground at one time. So pretty good amount. You can prepare for attacks sort of like this. You can leave some healing spheres behind you just so that if you get dove, you just take one step to the right and you get a little burst of healing. So these will heal targets upon touching them, as you can see, and then it will also increase the healing that they take from all sources. So if you look at my health bar here, I have 250 health, and then it will glow green. I see this plus sign with an up arrow on my health bar now. And that means that I'm taking increased healing from all sources, and that does mean all sources. So that includes my other healer, that includes any other character with a healing ability. Anything like that will increase my healing, and we can top targets very, very easily. So the more targets you hit with this, the more value you're going to get, and the more value you're going to get. If you hit 5 targets with your E and then you start spraying 5 targets with your left click, you are going to be doing an astronomical amount of healing, so definitely try and use these effectively. They do take a little bit of getting used to though, so as you can see, if you don't aim these properly, you won't actually hit targets that are right in front of you. So kind of lob them at targets or like aim at their head or something like that so that they go a little bit farther than you need them to. And they do splash damage, as you saw, so you can tag multiple targets with one E and then you can get that healing increase on multiple targets. These do also give movement speed, so right off the rip, You can throw these at the, like on your spawn right as people are about to run out that door if you're on attack, and you can get your team to the enemy team a little bit quicker. So that'll save you a few seconds. The last thing that we're going to go over is his ultimate. His ultimate is a pretty strong ability. I'm sure you've been killed by it a couple times, but so you go into this little UI here, and then you hit confirm, and after a brief delay, you eat the enemies. You'll see I have the option to left click to spit out enemies, which is what we're going to do here, and that's really all it is. So very, very simple. It will do damage when they are in your mouth, so you can use that to just either hold them there for maximum amount of time, do some damage, but most people will try and find a cliff or something and spit the enemies off the cliff, something like that. So very, very simple. The thing about his ultimate is that, first of all, I don't believe that you are, again, similar to this form, I don't believe that you count as on an objective. So if you're using your ult and just trying to hold people in your mouth on an objective, you don't actually count, so it will not extend overtime. The other thing that you can see is that there is a countdown on the right hand side of my screen there, and they're not incapacitated for that long. Anyone in your mouth is fully invulnerable, so they can't be damaged or anything like that except by you. As you can see, I'm getting hit markers here, but I do have that timer to make a choice whether to spit them out or do something else. So definitely make sure that you have a cliff in mind that you want to spit enemies out of before you ult, and that's going to help you a ton. The other thing to note about his ultimate is that you will also devour allies. So if I go like this, I will get 2 allies and an enemy, so I can spit out my allies, and then I can spit out my enemies if I still had enemies. Make sure that you don't kidnap your allies and run them off a cliff, because that's not going to win you friends, I promise you. So again, you can get both allies and enemies in your ultimate. Your right click will spit out allies. You can spit out your 2 allies and then take the enemies somewhere and then spit them off a cliff. The important thing to note too about this is that when you spit out enemies and you are trying to get that one-shot kill, you're trying to get that environmental kill, something like that, any flyers or characters with dashes can usually survive. If I were to spit enemies out off this cliff, it does spit them upwards a little bit, so we'll do that again. So we'll eat these 2 enemies. We'll say, okay, well, this is the cliff that we want to go to, so we spit them straight, and they actually go up. So if you want to try and angle this down, it can help a little bit. Definitely spitting them straight down is going to help a little bit if you're trying to just send them off the edge and send them into the death barrier. But definitely keep in mind that you can also just suicide with them. If you have 4 people in your belly and you don't want to risk it, just run off the cliff yourself. You will die, you will hit the death barrier, and they will all hit the death barrier, and there's no counterplay. So you can always try and spit enemies if it's really important that you live, but if you get a big impactful ult and you get like 4 people, something like that, definitely just run off the cliff yourself and realize that your team can take the point without you and without 4 of the enemies, something like that. So it's really situational, but I've seen a lot more Jeffs recently. They get a 3-person ult and they just run themselves off a cliff just to guarantee that kill. So that is Jeff the Shark. He's a pretty simple character, but can be used in a lot of interesting ways. Oh, the last thing that I forgot to mention about his ultimate is that you can actually make it target high ground. So if let's say the whole enemy team is above me and I use my ultimate, I actually wouldn't be able to hit them here. So if I use it, as you can see, I don't take anything off of that bridge. So that is important to note. It does have a z-axis, so it will reach a little bit above you, but it does not reach to high ground. So again, we'll do this. We'll be right under this guy on height, and we will eat, and he is perfectly fine up there. Did not get eaten up by our ultimate. One thing that you can do though is if you're in this, you hit your ultimate, you're in this, you hold down right click, and then you can actually target high ground. And then we can actually hit this target on high ground. So that is something that's pretty important to know. Didn't know that until quite recently. So anyway, that is all that you need to know about Jeff the Shark. Try this character out, but I hope you don't, because I don't want to die to his ult any more times. If there's anything you guys want to see from the channel, if there's anything that I can make for you guys, please don't hesitate to put it in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.